Alright, let's get a new 15-minute game going. Close some of these out. Just for time's sake, I think I do need to switch to 15 minutes. I've had a little bit of a break. Let's see how much of the ruy-lopez we remember. We get the Berlin defense, and then we castle here, sacrificing the pawn. We will retreat. Alright. Made a lot of moves very quickly. We have a fair amount of time on the clock. So let's see what we need to do here. We could play... Oh, you know what I think the move here is knight takes, pawn to d4, forking the bishop and the knight. That looks pretty good to me. Boom. And I think bishop takes, queen takes, and then we have an even game. I guess they can push d6 to prevent us from taking the knight with check. Or yeah, they have knight back. It's a strong move. Alright. So we do have bishop takes here with check. They don't have anything to defend it. King has to take back. But then I don't think we really have anything from there. It's just sort of a bishop sacrifice that ruins their king placement. We can't then check with our queen. So I think we'll hold off on that. Maybe just drop our queen back to c3. We probably want it somewhere where we can defend. Oh no, we don't want to defend this pawn because we come out with our rook and pin their king. So let's, drop back to c3. See if they want to take this pawn, and then we can pin their knight to their king. Okay, no, they castle first. I think we'll go ahead and push here. Get our rook out to e1, get our queen side developed. Interesting. Move our queen up. Threatening this nice battery here. They take our pawn, and we can no longer pin their king. Very clever. Well done. I think we will take their pawn right back. All right, we both got 15 minutes on the clock. I could probably take a little bit of a breather and assess what we want to do next. They get their knight out, threatening... not really sure what they're threatening here. I don't see why we couldn't push. Yeah, if we push here... I guess they have ideas of like queen to h4, queen to h2, checkmate. So maybe if we're looking at pushing a piece to scare this knight away, maybe pushing h3 is a little bit better. Because that also, well, actually no, maybe we want to keep this in place because, let's see, if we push, queen comes out, we take, they take back, and they still have this threat. So maybe we push here instead. And they can't take here because we get to develop our rook, which becomes nice and active. They take, we take back, and I'm not worried about that. They don't have a dark squared bishop. That I should have looked at before making this move, assessing sort of threats down this diagonal. They do have their queen on the dark square, so maybe if they came out like this, that could be a little bit of a threat. But they're not going to do that. I like coming out to f4 a little bit. That does put us on forkable squares. If they could get a knight out to e2, that would fork our queen and our king, but they cannot do that. Oh, you know what would have been a little bit better? Would have been queen to e4, threatening their rook on b8. Although I guess they would have bishop out. Okay, so maybe that wasn't an option. But now we have this nice threat here. Not that we can act on it immediately, because their knight guards that f7 square. I think this leaves their knight hanging. So we take their knight, probably their rook comes out. We can come out here with check. Oh, it starts to look pretty nasty. Okay. So it takes. Here we go. We move over here. Yeah. Then we'll pick up a rook. Oh, no. Oh, me oh my. Well, these things happen. Got a little bit too excited there. Let's, we're down a bunch of material. Let's not panic. Let's develop the remainder of our pieces. And not make any trades we can't afford to make. We could get our rook out to d1. Seems like really the only spot for the rook. Try to scare away their knight here. I don't want to move our knight to c3 because it invites a trade, and trades are going to be really bad for us here. So I want to play thoughtfully, play carefully. Okay. They get their knight out. So, I mean, I guess we could take, but then they take back with their rook, and that looks bad for us. Of course, they are threatening our rook here, so is there a better place we can develop our rook to? Oh, I guess they're also threatening knight takes on c2, and then our rook has nowhere to go. So maybe we do have to take this. If we do that. Ugh. This looks nasty. I think, yeah, we do have to make this trade, unfortunately. Okay. Now we can get our knight out at least. Maybe like this? Nope, that doesn't do anything. This is not the resounding return to chess that I had hoped for. But we'll make do. Okay. Queen comes out. Not really threatening anything. They can't come down here. They don't really have any ideas with their light squared bishop. So I'm not super worried about this, actually. Get our... No, we can't get our knight out here because their queen defends that square. But if we like push here, we can maybe do that and hit this rook. Yeah, that seems promising. I'm missing something? I don't think their queen can come anywhere very threatening. Because if they came down, then their queen could come in here, and that would be Not quite checkmate, but dangerous. So let's scare away rook number 1. Guess it could come down here. Yeah. And so now they have queen to f2, check. King back to h1, and they don't have any way to deliver checkmate because our rooks are guarding the back rank. But here, no, if we move our rook out here, they have takes, takes, and then queen takes on e1, checkmate. So that's nasty. We could cut off the queen's access to this diagonal with g3, and I think that might be our best move here. Queen can come down to, I guess if we push, queen comes down to h3, and then they're threatening queen to g2, checkmate, which of course is unappealing. Maybe, can we get our rook into the game somehow? No. No. This loses the rook. Maybe rook up to d5. And then I'm not afraid of queen to f2 because our other rook still guards the back rank. No, then they have back rank checkmate ideas. So actually, I mean, h3 isn't bad here. Ugh. Not a lot of appealing options, I have to say. Actually, maybe rook to f1. Just guarding this idea. Sort of defusing it altogether. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Either other rook into the game, potentially taking on g2. And I think now is the time to push g3. Or no, I guess if we push, they still come down and they're threatening queen to g2 checkmate. We could push g4. They don't have check. They could still come down. Yeah. So I think this queen to h2 threat is just so brutal. We have a check here, but they have that square guarded a bunch of different ways. Could proactively move over to h1. Yeah, let's do that. Give me just a moment. I'm going to let my dog in. All right, rook takes on g2. Can't take back. We do have, knight to e5, forking their king and their rook. See anything else we have available, so let's go ahead and run for that. There we go. So I think we maybe make this trade. If they take, then we can take, and that's really appealing. But I think more likely they'll take with their other rook, and then we're sort of don't really have a ton of options after that. But I think that trade is something we'll have to go for. Oh! Black wins by checkmate. Good game. Yeah, I think it was pretty even until I blundered my queen. Let's move me out of the way a little bit. Mute this tab. Book moves, and I think we played this. Oh, it's interesting. Taking there was the good move. Yeah, taking your hanging pawn. We moved back. I guess taking was a better option there. We're sort of back into book. Yeah, and then this fork. I think normally it goes by a different move order. Yeah. Castled, okay. They push. Yeah, pinning a knight was a better move here. They take. We take. Yeah, like identified, queen to e4 was much stronger, hitting their rook. And if their bishop had come out, we could have simply taken it. So missed opportunity there. Yep, yeah, we pick up a hanging knight. We lose the bishop, and then queen to d5, of course, is a blunder, putting our queen onto an unsafe square. And the game falls apart pretty quickly from there. Not too much to report on here. I think worth noting that I did miss this checkmate. I mean, the engine doesn't even call this. It says knight takes on g6 is excellent. I don't know if there's anything else we could have done to avoid imminent destruction. Takes. We do something, and then, yeah, that's game over. Okay, yeah, all their heavy pieces on our king side of the board. A little bit of a miss there. Okay, yeah, like I said, not the resounding new return to the chessboard that I had hoped for, but I'm happy to be back on this side of the computer. All right, I'm going to call it here. Have a good one, y'all. See y'all next time.